Hello, je suis Anita Lebeau, je suis la directrice de le film 8 Rooms. On est ici à la Maison des Artistes pour voir les 8 dioramas qui ont été créés pour cet film. The idea behind this film is it was based on me being someone who dreams rooms all the time. And in my dreams, I'm entering rooms, I'm finding boxes full of stuff. So what I wanted to do was to create a film that was based around the idea of characters, my animated characters, entering spaces that they don't maybe readily recognize, and they explore them. And in order for me to do that, I needed to have other people create the spaces for me. Hence...
Bonjour, je m'appelle Diana Thorneycroft. Je suis une artiste. We got a wonderful list together and we had some people that were on board and then couldn't complete the project, but we ended up with 8 amazing artists. And Anita Lebeau is now a visual artist. She's joined the group.
Yeah, I was trying to make some friends.
Yes.
My film features a couple of characters that entered dream spaces. Then these are basically the dioramas that were created by the other artists. I wanted to be surprised. I wanted my characters in the film to be surprised by what they got.
And I think what's really interesting about the dioramas is that they really do reflect each artist's practice. A good example is Reva Stone. She's currently working with drones and she does computer imagery and builds, like her brain is so unlike mine where it's I'm much more physical when I deal with my subject matter or drawing or sculpture. And her set, I think, well, she includes text and there's a lot more conceptual depth in her set, whereas then you have someone like Shirley Brown, who's such a character, and hers is a Christmas brothel set with, floating dildos and all sorts of wonderful brothel-ish items in the set. And she loves glitz and she loves bling, and her set is just full of that.
What I found interesting about this is that in a way I just thought the artists would create something based on the practice, like each of their individual practices in a way that really targeted what they did. But what I was pleased to hear from them is that they felt quite challenged, a lot of them, by what they were doing, and that they were able to go places and explore in ways artistically that they might not have done before.
Like when I think about Heather Komus, she loves fish flies and bugs and weird things like that. And so
Someone's got to.
Yeah, so her set, she actually incorporates intestinal skin, like pork gut, that instead of sausage casings. So her set has that. And I know Barb Flemington loves slate as a pure dark black lovely material, and she draws on the slate, and her room is really quite dark and
just
mysterious
and everything.
Yeah,
it's beautiful.
Yeah.
The other thing that I found really cool is that some of the animators were challenged to create stop motion for the film as well.
Just before COVID hit, I started doing stop motion animation, and in fact, the set in this 8 room show, part of it stems from my first stop motion animation called Black Forest Sanatorium. And the characters, the puppets, had their first gig for my animation, and then they were rehired to perform in Anita's exhibition.
Suzie Smith and Allison James did a stop motion of clouds moving through this as paper clouds. Her Susie's diorama is really based on paper and paper construction, and so she decided to create this wonderful skyscape of clouds moving that are created with paper.
And I know Seema, at the time when we were doing this, she was obsessed with monarchs. And so it makes total sense that her set involves butterflies with wings that flap, and it's just so visually beautiful. It's just, her set's really remarkable.
More of the living space of the main characters. So it's not a dream space, but it does create a sense for the character and what she's all about. And she's a traveler at heart. There's maps and there's boxes full of memorabilia from trips. And
you could look into her washroom. She's got washroom doors open. You can check out washroom. There's an upstairs. There's a downstairs. You can check out what kind of food she likes. Like, it's really, the detail is amazing. It is.
Eventually, we brought all of the dioramas into a studio, and we had Mike Marinick, who's a filmmaker, light them in delicious ways, really beautiful ways. And he filmed it based on my animatic. He tried to replicate a lot of the angles and points of view of camera from all of the photographs that I used, which was tricky sometimes because with different camera angles and different things being represented, we had to really play around with that a lot. But on one diorama in particular, which was Seema's, we actually created live action footage of the butterflies flapping their wings, and we had about 6 people in there standing behind her diorama pulling the strings to make sure that the butterfly wings were flapping.
That was a fun day.
It was actually great. No, it was wonderful for me to be doing that. I mean, ironically, I created this as an opportunity for me to get together with people, and I figured we'd be spending tons of time together, and this, of course, happened just before COVID hit.
I think Suzie Smith talked about how we were all locked in our rooms making rooms. Like it was a pretty interesting time because we all became insular just because of the pandemic, but it almost fed that internal vision. So it was, in some ways, I don't want to say it was fortuitous, but it turned out to be what it is, what it is, right?
Yeah. The sound designer and composer for everything in the film is by Christine Fellows. And we mixed this in Dolby. Like, we've got 5.1, and if you could get into a theater and actually listen, to it in Dolby, I mean, you can feel rumblings and stuff. It's amazing. It's so wonderful. So.